All right, let's dive right into this explainer. I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow and having this sudden, kind of baffling realization. Nobody ever actually taught you how money works. I mean, think about it. We spent years in school learning the exact dates of historical battles and, memorizing the periodic table of elements, but the standard curriculum completely missed the fundamental mechanics of building wealth. Well, today, we are going to change that by unpacking the 10 pillars of personal wealth.
Nobody ever taught you money, did they? Let's just validate that frustration for a second. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by your finances, you really need to understand that you aren't broke or struggling because you lack intelligence. Not at all. It's simply because no one ever sat you down and explained the rules of the game to you. It's literally like being asked to play a super complex board game without ever being allowed to read the instruction manual. We spend thousands of hours memorizing subjects like math, science, and history, but we completely missed the practical, life-altering concepts, like why some people remain trapped in a cycle of being broke, while others steadily build generational wealth. We're going to fill in that gap today. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the awakening, move into getting and keeping, then navigating the financial system, forces shaping your wealth, and finally, the ultimate wealth builders. Let's get into Section 1, Getting and Keeping, Value Creation and Cash Flow. Here's the thing. Money doesn't just magically appear, right? Money follows value. Think about the value creators we all rely on every day. A doctor earns their income by providing vital health solutions. An engineer builds products we actually use. An entrepreneur creates services that just make our lives easier or better. The highest earners in our society are typically the people who solve the biggest problems. So, if you focus your energy on becoming incredibly useful and solving problems for others, you inherently create more financial opportunities for yourself. Okay, let's shatter a massive myth right now. We kind of tend to think wealth is all about a huge salary, but think about two completely different scenarios. Person A earns a massive $10,000 a month, but they spend $11,000. Person B, they only earn $3,000 a month, but they consistently save and invest a portion of it. Over time, person B becomes wealthy while person A is functionally broke. Wealth isn't about what you make. It is entirely about your cash flow, the money coming in versus the money going out. Let's zero in on that $11,000 figure for a sec. If your lifestyle balloons so much that you spend this amount while only earning $10,000, you're in serious financial trouble, regardless of your impressive job title. Income absolutely matters, yes, for sure. But this proves that your cash flow matters far, far more to the actual health of your wallet. Section 2, Navigating the Financial System, Taxes, Banks, Credit, and Recessions. First up, taxes. Look, every government needs revenue to operate, right? They need to fund roads, schools, hospitals, and national security, so they take slices from your income, from the sales of things you buy, from the property you own, and the investments you profit from. Understanding exactly how and where these slices are taken is really the only way you can legally, ethically, and responsibly structure your finances to keep more of your hard-earned cash flow. Next, we've got to totally reframe how we view banks. Most of us grew up thinking of a bank as this giant, static vault from a Hollywood heist movie where our money just sits there, safely. In reality, banks are highly active financial middlemen. They take the deposits from savers, pay them a tiny bit of interest, and then turn around and lend that exact same money to borrowers at a much higher rate. They profit off that difference. They don't just store money, they keep the entire economy moving by ensuring capital is actually circulating. Which brings us to a really important question. Would you lend your own hard-earned money to a complete stranger? Of course not. At least not without some rock-solid proof that they have a history of paying people back. Well, banks feel the exact same way about you. And that is precisely the purpose of a credit score. Your credit score is the key that dictates your financial reality. A strong score proves you're reliable, unlocking the vault to better loans and significantly lower interest rates. On the flip side, a poor score acts as a giant red flag, making borrowing incredibly expensive. Your credit score is essentially your financial reputation. A good reputation makes navigating the system cheap, while a bad one costs you dearly. Now, navigating the system also means understanding that economies, well, they don't just grow in a straight line forever. A recession is simply a normal period when economic activity declines, businesses earn less, and hiring slows down. When you see the news panicking, it's absolutely vital to remember that these are completely normal economic cycles.
While they can be painful in the short term, financial history clearly and consistently shows that economies eventually recover. Preparing for them, rather than panicking over them, is a core pillar of wealth. Moving on to Section 3, Forces Shaping Your Wealth. Interest and inflation. Interest is wild because it has this fascinating dual nature. When you borrow money, interest acts like a heavy anchor keeping you poor. That's the price you pay. But when you invest, it becomes your greatest reward. This is where compound interest works its magic. That's when your money earns a return, and then those returns begin earning their own returns. It is literally the mechanism that turns small, consistent amounts into surprisingly massive fortunes over time. Let's make the abstract concept of inflation super tangible. Think about how this works. A simple meal costs $5 today. In a few years, that exact same meal costs $8, and eventually $10. The meal didn't get any better, your money just got weaker. Inflation means that if your money is just sitting idle under a mattress getting dusty, it is slowly, silently losing its purchasing power. Section 4, the ultimate wealth builders. We're talking investing and time. Since idle money loses value, just saving it, that's not going to cut it anymore. Saving merely protects your money in the short term, but investing actually grows it. Vehicles like stocks, bonds, real estate, and investment funds historically outpace inflation. By putting your capital into assets that have the potential to increase in value, you are making your money work for you. And yes, obviously, every investment carries risk, but keeping your money idle carries the absolute certainty of losing value to inflation. Which brings us to arguably the single most important concept we'll discuss today. Just think about the massive difference in compound growth between someone who starts investing at age 20 versus someone who waits until age 40. Time is the one resource we are all given equally, but how early you deploy it changes absolutely everything. Because of compound growth, wealth is rarely built overnight by chasing quick wins. It's built slowly, steadily, and massively through years of consistent decisions. The advantage of starting early is almost impossible to beat. Section 5, Shaping Your Financial Future. All right, here is your rapid-fire summary of the core actions. Master your cash flows so you spend less than you earn. Understand your taxes. Use banks as tools, not just storage. Respect the dual nature of interest. Buy assets to protect yourself from inflation. Build a strong credit reputation. Prepare calmly for recessions. Invest your money regularly. And above all else, focus on creating value for others in your career. I want you to really let this sink in. The decisions you make today can shape your financial future for decades to come. Never underestimate the profound power of time, combined with your own daily choices. The trajectory of your financial life isn't set in stone just because your school failed to teach you this material. Your trajectory is entirely in your hands, starting right now, with the decisions you make today. So, I'm going to leave you with this one final, provocative question to chew on as you go about your day. Will you let the system use your money, or will you use the system to build your wealth? Mastering these 10 pillars changes everything from this moment forward. The rules are now yours to play by.